Liverpool 4, West Ham 0. The perfect start for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool Football Club to this 18-19 season. I am absolutely over the moon, guys. You're very welcome to the post-match pint. I'm joined by Cash and Jack to have a look back over the Reds' first game of the season. Cash, I'll come to you first. Kloppo couldn't have asked for much more. What's your immediate reaction? How are you feeling after that perfect performance from Liverpool Football Club?
I feel very, very happy, very content. Should the Man City score stay as it is, we're top of the table. I think that's really, really good. There's a couple of things to caveat it with. I think the first thing is that West Ham, for all the signings they've made, I never believed that that team would have gelled sufficiently so as to really trouble Liverpool. So I do think, although the start has been fantastic, we have to temper that against the fact that that West Ham team was pretty weak, really. You're not going to realistically challenge for anything with a midfield containing Mark Noble and Jack Wilshere. So you do have to look at the opposition, but that's the only thing that I want to caveat it with. Overall, it was an excellent performance. You can only beat what's put in front of you. When we're that scintillating, it is almost impossible to stop, as West Ham saw. Yes, we had slight fortune with one of the goals that was clearly offside, the third goal. However, we could have scored more. I think West Ham 4-0 didn't really flatter us. I think it was accurate in terms of the extent of our domination. I think the players that made their debuts, obviously Alisson didn't have much to do, but Keita was excellent, superb, and didn't look as though he was making his debut. He just looked like he'd been playing in that midfield for years. The front three were all very, very good. Bobby Firmino was slightly less dynamic than the other two, but very, very good nonetheless, and is still coming back up to full fitness after his holidays. So if you look at the actual the lineup, you look at the strength of the bench, which was magnificent. If you look at the players in the positions applying themselves brilliantly, you look at the chances created, and you look at the just the ability to put a team to the sword. It was a phenomenal start of the season, and as I said before, you can only beat what's put in front of you. And as starts go, it's an excellent one, particularly when you compare it with what we did last year against Watford. Starting off with a draw dampens your momentum, so this was really, really crucial.
Thank you very much. Jack, for me, there's a lot to talk about in this game, many, many positives, but I want to single out that midfield trio for particular credit, because if you look at that midfield on paper, James Milner, Gini Wijnaldum and Naby Keita, it looks like a solid midfield trio, but taking Keita aside, they're not superstar names. But I honestly thought, mate, that was a 10 out of 10 performance pretty much right across the midfield trio.
Well, mate, when you look at the midfield today, you thought, well, it doesn't have the flair that we expected. We were looking at the likes of Fabinho to come in and really grasp that number 6 position. But Wijnaldum, personally, I see him more as a number 8, so to see him in the number 6, that was something ahead of the game that I was worried about myself, really. But I always expect class from James Milner, and it's becoming the norm to see him put in constant classy performance in a Liverpool shirt, to be honest. So I wasn't surprised by him being brilliant again today. I mean, he was wonderful in our Champions League campaign last season, and he just continued like that, hasn't he? I thought he was absolutely incredible today. I mean, he's 32 years old. His fitness is still peak. Like, you think he was still 25, 24. He's just an incredible player, getting yet another assist to his name. I think the midfield performance was wonderful. But I did mention Wijnaldum in the number 6 position. I do see him more as a number 8, but I do think he was incredible in the 6 today. I mean, defensively, there wasn't as much for him to do really today. I mean, but I did think he was incredible in that number 6. And Keita, I mean, we all knew he was going to be a brilliant signing. We all knew the sort of player he was and how good he is. But what an incredible debut from him today. I mean, if you could pick anyone to fulfil Steven Gerrard's boots with that number 8 shirt, in my opinion, it's gone to the right man, Naby Keita. He's just class, isn't he?
He absolutely oozed class today. And Jack, when we signed Naby Keita, one of the first things he said in his interview with the LFC TV channel was, think of me as a more defensively minded midfielder at first, but mate, every time I seen him today, his head was up, he was looking forward, and he gave nobody time to settle on the ball. It was an immense performance from Naby Keita.
He's quality. He has a bit of everything, Naby Keita. I mean, his dribbling is exceptional, and he likes to drive forwards, and that is something, especially in the Premier League, that is really, really good. He just fits the Jurgen Klopp mould of a midfielder, really. He's got a high intensity pressing on the ball. He's just so calm and relaxed, but he's still got that flair and creativity and power. He's just an incredible midfielder, and well, we're privileged to have him in our team. I mean, his problem, I think, there will be this season will be consistency. But you know, if anyone can get consistency out of a player, it's Jurgen Klopp. I think what's important to think about is in that midfield. We've seen, as you said, a slightly weaker midfield today on paper. However, we've seen how good that midfield can still be, and under a Klopp side, the midfield is very important. We've seen that in the big games when you know Emre Can was playing, and how he'd step up his performance in the big games, and how important it would be, and how noticeable it would be. And again, the midfield excelled today, and I think the 11 were class, to be honest. But if you were picking three players, I'd say you expect it from our front three. So the midfield were very, very impressive.
Cash, the first goal came in 19 minutes, but it was no shock that it came. We knocked on the door time and time again. But I want to single out, if you're a centre forward or you're an attacking player, that ball played by Andy Robertson across the 6-yard box to Mo Salah was simply perfect.
Well, absolutely, and it's clearly something that they've worked on, you know, continuously in training, like as you would expect, the professional footballers. But it's that sequence, isn't it? Because if you look at that goal, it sort of embodied everything that was good about the different components in our team. So the driving run from Keita embodies everything he can offer. The ball out to Robertson, who uses the width incredibly well. Then the ball deployed in from Robertson with the right amount of power, curve, finesse, and then Salah positionally being in the exact correct place and applying a really, really smart finish, which you would expect him to finish. However, you still need to do it. So I think that goal in microcosm really sums up what's good about the various elements of our team. And it sums up clearly that it's a team game, in the sense that Mo Salah's brilliance doesn't happen without the preceding brilliance of those other players. So for me, I really do believe that Robertson is probably constantly marooned out in the corners out in Melwood, hitting ball after ball after ball, just to try and get that right, because West Ham couldn't defend against it. It wasn't the first time in that first half that we attempted crosses from wide, and West Ham were all at 5s and 6s trying to, get rid of the ball and scramble at home. And it was very clearly a pinpointed method by Klopp to basically create goal scoring opportunities. So as I said, you're totally right. Robertson's ball was excellent, but all three players involved in that goal performed their roles in that goal perfectly.
Jack, heading towards half-time, I was hoping we got in 1-0 with a clean sheet, if I'm being honest, mate, but I want to touch on James Milner for this second goal. Sadio Mané scored it, but for me it was all about James Milner not giving up. And how on earth did he manage to hook that ball back across the 6-yard line?
Well, it was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, first of all, I think Andrew Robertson, at the time when I saw it, I thought, he slightly overhit it. But, I didn't see Milner lurking at the back post. And he really is lurking. He's sort of, I think what is incredible about this from James Milner is two things. First, as you pointed out, the hook across goal. But it's how he's lost his man, and he's found himself unmarked at the back post, lurking, and he expects it, we saw the ball from Andrew Robertson for the first goal, and a lot of people would just think, this is going where the majority of the men in red are, and it'll be finished sort of like that. But no, he's there, he's ready at the back post, he's running in, and as you say, it's just an incredible hook across the face of goal to Sadio Mané, and it is all James Milner really with that hook across goal. It was just brilliant, and as I say, 32 years old to do that, it's just brilliant from James Milner.
Jurgen Klopp would have went in 2-0 at half time, and all we could hope for, Cash, was that the Reds came out in the second half with the same attitude, the same intensity, and the same level of play that we've seen in the first 45 minutes. They didn't disappoint, and that third goal, Sadio Mane's second, was just all about the strike. It was a great goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's, there is the aspect of it that it was an offside. It was offside. So I want to get that out of the way, not because I want to focus on it, because it doesn't change the outcome of the game, that decision.
I fucking defo was offside, though. It was really offside.
Exactly. So I want to get that out of the way before anyone can sort of rebut by being like, well, it was offside. But no one's denying that. It definitely was. But equally, by the same token, it didn't affect the outcome of the game. We would have still beat West Ham comprehensively with or without that decision. And if West Ham are being honest with themselves, they'll agree with that. However, I think with the third goal, it's just MANÉ demonstrated. Like I've sort of said this before, and I don't want to seem like a broken record, but I just felt like today's performance really did demonstrate each player's sort of respective strengths. So that third strike for MANÉ is all about the power, and he is such a powerful player. Like, how many of his goals are powerful strikes? Like you don't see him, really chip or dink that much. He's very, very powerful. And yeah, as I said, he doesn't know that that's offside when he hits that. So he's hitting that in good faith. And therefore, it's like, you just look at him being like, you are just a man at the peak of your powers, totally confident in your ability to do what you do best. And it was great to watch.
I said this before, Cash. I honestly think that number 10 shirt will give him a little psychological boost and make him feel more important. It probably is a little bit silly, but I genuinely believe that.
I think it's true. I think you're right. I think, footballers are egotistical beings. Like, you have to be, in the sense of, particularly in offensive positions, and the amount of sort of aplomb and fame footballers have now, you'd be hard pressed to find a footballer who doesn't have that bit of ego, and that's fine. I've got no issue with that as long as it's managed. With MANÉ, I think, whether we know it or not, what may have got to him a little bit last season was the fact that he was apparently the least effective of the front three, and he would have read that, and I'm sure he would have maybe not liked that. He would not have cared for that assessment, particularly in the earlier stage of the season. There was a lot of talk that he was the weak link of the front three, if there is such a thing. So I think getting the number 10 jersey, it just embodies, 10 is a central number. It's a creative number. It's a number that's given to a player to show them, you are key to my plans. How many number 10s at clubs are peripheral players? Hardly any. So my opinion is very much that, like you say, that shirt has given him a lease of life. And it's no coincidence when he scored his first goal today, he's been doing that thing where he lifts the shirt and points at the number and the name. And, it clearly means a lot to him. And, as it should mean a lot to wear number 10 for Liverpool Football Club. And I'm glad that it does mean a lot to him.
Jack, I want to have a little chat about Anthony Taylor and his refereeing performance today. Now, we spoke about Mané's goal being offside, and it clearly was. If you're a West Ham fan, you're absolutely fucking apoplectic that they've got away with that. But from our perspective, obviously we'll take it. We had a bit of bad luck last season. We'll take any that comes our way this year. But I thought Anthony Taylor was shocking today, mate. I really thought that was another poor refereeing performance. I'm not saying this as a bitter fan, because we clearly handsomely won the game. But, I mean, the standard of refereeing in the Premier League continues to be subpar, for my liking anyway.
Well, first of all, I think Anthony Taylor, personally, I think Anthony Taylor is an exceptional referee, and I think he's one of the best in the Premier League. That's my personal opinion. But, when as a referee myself, you do have good games and bad games, and obviously the offside, as a referee, that's not his decision to make. It's more so the linesman. But I personally didn't spot anything really truly shocking about Anthony Taylor's refereeing performance today. I mean, there's always going to be questionable decisions, questionable this, questionable that. It's football, and we saw even with the video referee that the sort of things that can bring. It can still bring controversy even when it's recorded and watched by multiple referees. But it's opinions, really, isn't it? So.
Oh no, it is, absolutely it is, and I applaud that you're standing up for referees and that you're a referee yourself. So obviously your insight on this is very much appreciated. But I found today watching that game, every time a West Ham player was involved in a shoulder-to-shoulder tussle with a Liverpool player, and I'm singling out Jack Wilshere here in particular, they went around and Anthony Taylor put the whistle to his lips and gave West Ham the free kick time and time and time again.
I think it's something we've got to get used to this season, if I'm honest. I mean, you have different sort of classes in the Premier League. You have teams that you've seen in the transfer window clearly want to play football and want to progress in that sort of style. And you will see teams that sort of look at the likes of us and Man City and see, well, this is the only way we're going to beat them. We've got to be physical. And I mean, we saw this with Man City last season. I mean, they had a lot of bad challenges against them. I'm looking at teams like West Brom and Stoke. They'd go in very physical against them and be very, very aggressive in that sort of sense. And I don't think it's an issue with referees. I think it's more an issue with teams, and we're still stuck in sort of that style where you've got the new era of football where it's like the Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp sort of style where it's ball down. We want to see football. We want to play football, but you still have the likes of Neil Warnock, Tony Pulis, who are going to play that sort of football, and we're still stuck in that sort of the middle of the two at this point. And I think that's more the issue at the minute. I mean, I'm not comparing Manuel Pellegrini to the likes of Neil Warnock. Of course I'm not, but West Ham have always been known to have that sort of physical element to their side. And the first game of the season, I think they're not going to be cemented and gelled under the new Pellegrini sort of style of play. So I think they would have seen us, how we started the game. We were very rampant today, we just oozed with quality throughout, and I think they just turned to the physical side of the game because they were in doubt, if I'm honest with you.
Cash, bringing it back to Liverpool today, the substitutions that Klopp made were the right ones. They were the ones that the fans clearly wanted to see. I was doing a live stream on YouTube at the time during the game, and the love for Sheridan Shaqiri from the Reds fans already is great to see. He looks like he's a player who's like a man possessed almost. Delighted to be at Liverpool, realises this is a big opportunity for him, and he looks like he really wants to grasp it with both hands.
Yeah, I think so. You know, you'd have to sort of, if he wasn't like that, you would question. Well, firstly, I don't think Jurgen Klopp would have gone for him because Jurgen Klopp doesn't buy players that are going to waste his time, I think. So, you know, you have to look at, but you would have to, sorry, pardon me. If he wasn't like that, you would question things because, you know, he's been taken from the doldrums of Stoke to one of the best teams in Europe. He's been given a genuine opportunity, if to not be a first team regular, at least to be, you know, first sub. And you don't know what injuries and other things are going to, you know, dictate happen in the future. So he has been given a huge opportunity. But you're right. He's sort of he's walking around with the air of someone who senses that this is a real opportunity, and you know you've got to be vigilant in protecting it and making sure that you take it properly. He's walking around like he's a man that wants to write his name in some history books, and I think that will only benefit us. And I think there's a lot of love for Shaqiri with the Reds fans already, but there should be a lot of love as well for that bench. Like that is the strongest bench we have had in years, and everybody's not fit. So you know, I do think Shaqiri is a real like embodiment of like a new Liverpool, which has genuine quality on the bench, and it doesn't. And you know, if you replace any of the front three, you're getting similar, if not identical, levels of quality. And it's with Shaqiri, he's just the complete embodiment of that, and I think he just senses that it could be his era, if you like.
Jack, staying with Shaqiri, mate, where do you think he will slot into this Liverpool side, or where do you think he'll be most effective in Klopp's system?
I think that's why he's been signed, Craig, to be honest, because I think he can literally slot in anywhere. I mean, you look and every time I see him in a Liverpool shirt, I say to myself, he literally costs £13 million in an inflated market. It is unbelievable that we've got a player of that quality for such little money. I mean, I'm not going to say the lad's world class. He's got a lot of areas to improve about his game, but to think that single-handedly that guy could have kept Stoke up last season, and we've got him for just 13 million in an inflated market is insane, really. But I do believe we saw him pre-season, he was trialled in the false nine position. He was tried just behind Firmino in the number 10 role. He's been tried on the wing, wide right and left he can play. So I do think he can he can play in any position into the Klopp system. I do believe personally he'll be more of sort of a rotation player. He does lack a bit of consistency, Xherdan Shaqiri. So I do believe he'll be used more to rotate and bring off the bench. But he is one of them players you do want in your squad because he can change games and he is capable of producing bits of brilliance and individual quality that you just think, wow. And I point to that Man United overhead kick on his debut, which I watched it and I was just like, oh my God, we have a player here. And to think about it, I say we have a player here, and then in the next breath I say, but I don't think he'll be a sort of first 11 player for us, which just seems incredible to say. I mean, I've seen photos circulating around Twitter of our first game under Jurgen Klopp, looking at the bench there and the starting 11 there, and to compare it to what it is today is just absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it really is an incredible transformation that we've done under Jurgen Klopp. And I went to Anfield several times last season. On the way back, we always listen to Talk Sport, and there's always callers that always criticise Jurgen Klopp, and I don't get it personally myself, Craig. I mean, I've never understood the criticism for Jurgen Klopp at times of some supporters. I know some criticise the lack of trophies and all that bullshit, but to be honest with you, I think he's class, and he's one of the best things, certainly in my lifetime, to happen to Liverpool Football Club.
I'm 100% in agreement with you, Jack. Everything you said there, mate, I'm right behind you. Jurgen Klopp has been a revelation at this football club. He's transformed the attitude, the expectations of everybody. He's lifted the spirits. Every single member of staff at Liverpool Football Club must come to work every day excited, happy, proud to be part of what's going on here. And Cash, keeping with Jurgen Klopp, he couldn't have been any happier with the result of his final substitution. Daniel Sturridge comes onto the field when Liverpool have a corner. He must have been on the field less than 30 seconds, and he's putting in his first one of the season.
Yeah, he was on the pitch for 24 seconds. I saw that earlier. I think he is, he's just an absolute changed player. I think Jurgen Klopp must have been so happy he would have rolled out that double celebration. Have you seen that on Twitter? The double fist wank thing.
Oh yeah, punching down into the ground like the Tango hammer.
It's a big graphic celebration. I think he would have been not happy again with Sturridge's impact. I mean, with the Sturridge thing, I think Sturridge has clearly accepted his role in the system, in the sense that he's not first choice. All he can do is perform when called upon. Yes, the game was over. Yes, it was already 3-0. But he comes on and immediately scores a goal that I don't believe a player without Sturridge's sort of goal-scoring instinct scores. So, if you put a player in that position on the pitch who doesn't have the same goal-scoring instinct as Sturridge, I don't think he scores that. So, Sturridge pretty much, to the letter, is following the plan perfectly, being utilised as a sub, being very effective as a sub, and showing that we've got genuine quality in attack, behind the front three. So, as I said, I think, it's no coincidence that Klopp put Sturridge on ahead of Lallana, for example. There's clearly a brand new understanding between them both. Sturridge is obviously working hard. Sturridge is obviously doing what he's meant to be doing, and Klopp is seeing him as an asset and using him, and it's great to see. It really, really is great to see.
Jack, what are you expecting from Sturridge this season? I went into pre-season thinking, Danny Sturridge just finished at Liverpool, can prove his fitness, all the usual things that we hear and speak about Daniel Sturridge, but he's knuckled down. He kept his fitness through pre-season. He looks sharp. He looks focused. And clearly Jurgen Klopp has liked what he's seen.
Well, I'll bring you back to the end of last season, where there was a bit of a social media thing between me and Daniel Sturridge, and I completely agree with you, Craig. He's really shocked me in pre-season. Now, I was told that his Liverpool career was over. I genuinely thought he was on his way out this summer. He wanted to leave, but no, I'm so impressed with Daniel Sturridge. I mean, I've been critical of his attitude before, but this summer he's had the perfect attitude. You know, he's come in. I mean, when Klopp first came to Liverpool, you remember the media worried about Daniel Sturridge and how he'd fit under the Klopp regime, really, how he'd fit into Klopp's system. And I suppose everyone did, and he picked up some injuries from it, you know, and you just thought, well, his Liverpool career's over. He doesn't really fit our style of play anymore. But you know what? He's put his head down. He's worked hard, and that loan at West Brom was clearly one of the best things that could have happened to him, because he's come back into the club and he's worked his absolute socks off in pre-season. He's found a new best mate in Naby Keita, and he's just, well, that goal today will be perfect for his confidence. It will be brilliant to grow him again. And, you know, I mean, for Daniel Sturridge, the key thing now is keep him fit, keep him at this level. You know, he's not going to be our first choice striker. That's going to be Roberto Firmino. But can he sort of keep fit this season, keep doing his best when he gets on the pitch, when he gets minutes? Because he will get minutes through rotation. We know Klopp likes to rotate. And can he stay fit and stay scoring? I mean, it'll be brilliant for his confidence today, though. With that goal with his first touch, it will be superb for him. I'm really pleased with that.
Guys, we're going to have to leave it there. It was pretty much a pitch-perfect day for Liverpool Football Club. First game of the season, 4 goals, none conceded. Debuts for Alisson Becker, Naby Keita, Sheridan Shaqiri. Fabinho didn't get on, unfortunately, but look, he'll be fresh and round to go for the next game. Huge thank you to Jack and to Cash for taking the time to join me on this one. I'm over the moon with that start. I'm sure you are as well. We'll talk to you all soon. We'll be back later on tonight. Actually, you're spoiled for the content at this moment in time. We'll be recording this week's Cop Council podcast later on. Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Anfield Agenda. Jump on there. Do subscribe. Thank you to everybody that's taken the time to listen, and up the Reds.